Tipton County, home of a big, small-town rivalry. The two teams are the Brighton Cardinals and the Covington Chargers. Now you're wondering, how long has this rivalry gone on?
In the beginning, Covington beat them, 7, 8 years in a row. Most of them weren't really close, and Brighton finally broke through sometime around the early to mid-2000s. And since then, it's been pretty even. Brighton will usually win a couple, Covington will usually win a couple, but it's still a pretty heated rivalry, which I know both teams and players and coaches take seriously for sure.
Two ex-players talked a little bit about the rivalry.
Lance West hits the left.
Well, from my perspective, it's been going on for a long time. Me growing up in Covington, I watched Darren White, Antonio Gaines, John Poe, all those guys beat up on Brighton a lot, you know what I mean? So it's been something that's going on in our community for a very long time, man. I don't feel like the the love is lost at all.
Probably out of all the 10 games we had, that's where we tend to get in the most scuffles, fights, or word exchanges we ever had.
But why is there so much hate from both sides?
You never really get the reason why you hate these guys, but you hate them. They're from Covington, we're from Brighton, and you get out there on that field and you just want to rip their throats out, man. It's just there's always that bad blood between the two of us.
Some of the seniors will play their final Brighton versus Covington game tonight. They talk about what this rivalry means to them.
You hope to win, but you hope to win by as much as you can. You want to, especially losing these last two, we feel like we have something to prove.
They, at the end of the day, they're our friends, but out there on that field, they're our enemies.
Going through middle school, high school, it's always been playing those guys from down the road. It's always a competition.
We talk about it off season, during season. This is the biggest week of this biggest week of football.
Since 1998, when the rivalry started, Covington has led the series with a 12-8 record. And for the past 2 years, Covington has won 2-0 against Brighton. So what would that mean for the Covington athletes to go undefeated against them?
Well, really, it'd mean just about everything to me and keeping the legacy going, because I've played since I was a sophomore, so I just want to keep everything going, being remembered like the seniors were before me.
Because Brian, it means a lot. Like since middle school all the way up to now, I've been my senior class has been undefeated against Brighton, and we just hope to continue to keep it going this Friday night, which we will.
For the coaches, this is just another game they have to play.
For us, it's another game. We got to prepare just like we do everybody else, and we expect to play exactly the way we play everybody else. So we try to downplay the rivalry a little bit so people aren't getting too fired up over it, and then we're taking care of what we need to take care of.
Here at Covington, being the head coach and playing this, it's still big, but it has no region championship implications on it. A lot of people like to blow it a lot more out of proportion when we play Brighton and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's another football game. We'll move on with our season just like they will.
For these communities, this game means everything. But for former players, they love to come and support their old schools. Some would even drive all the way back from when they are 3 hours away. Covington passing leader Brock Lomax does just that to support his boys.
Well, once you're in the football program at Covington, it's kind of hard to get your heart out of it,
Yeah.
We just put so much time and heart into Covington football that once you leave, you just want to come back. And I've got some really good friends on the team still. My little cousin plays quarterback, and he asked me to come to the game, and so I for sure said yes. And once again, it's a big county rivalry, so it was a good atmosphere to be in just to watch a football game.
With this being the final rivalry game and season for these seniors, here's some advice for them.
I'd say out of the 10 regular season games you play this season, if you're going to leave it all out there for one game, it should be the Brighton Covington game.
So my last high school football game was my first high school varsity football game, and I treat it like every other. Coaches are always telling you treat each game like it's your last, and you're kind of like it goes in one ear and goes out the other. When you're tying your shoes up, your cleats up before the game, putting your pads on, putting your helmet on, and you walking out. Like my guys, walking through them sirens before the game, seeing everybody clapping on each side of you walking in there, smoke going, smelling the concession stand, and just don't. I mean, you can't take that for granted because you're not going to get it again after this year.
Man, I just tell them to give it their all for 4 quarters. I mean, if you leave your heart out on the field for 4 quarters, you can't be upset with the result at all. I mean, don't take it for granted, because if I had a chance to play Brighton again right now, I promise I'd strap on some pads and go at it again. It's a rivalry that can't be replaced in your mind, you know.
There's nothing like it, you know, the crowd, the cheerleaders, the hometown, everything. It's a real deal, and you're never going to feel anything else like it again, so leave your heart out there.
Make sure to be at Covington Field tonight at 7:30 to find out who runs Tipton County.